Thanks for being on the show. This is great.
So we are talking. How do you spell your name? Pronounce your first name, sir.
My first name is Bilal.
Bilal. Okay. And
Bilal.
Carol from Zoom Rideshare. Did I say that right? Is it Zoom?
Zoom Ride.
Zoom
Good.
Ride.
Yep.
Okay. You know, you can't just Google Zoom,
No.
Right.
because if you do that, it brings up the Zoom, the audio recording. But we're super excited that you guys had joined us tonight. We've been in the business for a while. I think all of us have probably close to 15,000 rides together. And so we're definitely veterans in the gig economy and the ride share, platform and market. But why don't you guys introduce what Zoom Ride is and what sets it apart? Maybe just one or two things for right now that from the Uber and Lyft.
Zoom Ride, we're trying to make it the safest rideshare platform.
Okay.
We studied the rideshare market, and we noticed there is a lot of improvement that could be done to make it safe and to generate more money for the drivers. We're trying to please both people, the drivers and the passengers.
So
Mainly our focus is customer service, and our partners are both the drivers and the riders.
How are you making it more safe?
exactly.
For example, during COVID now, we are providing to the drivers, if they like to have them, sneeze guards that we put them between the passengers and the drivers. Also, we have UVC sanitizing lights that sanitizes the back of the vehicle after every rider when he leaves. About 2 minutes, the rider leaves the car, the UVC light turns on by itself. It has a motion sensor. It will turn on for 30 seconds. Helps sanitizing the car. Of course, we always recommend having the driver sanitize the car himself or herself as additional safety feature that will help kill the viruses.
So is that something that's standard for the drivers? Like it's no cost to them that you'll put that in their car?
We are giving to them, if they drive with us for 85 rides, they will get their money back. Yes.
Okay. But that's still
So
true.
it's not that much. Just make sure, and they're not paying a lot of money for it. Only $85 for both. Our cost is a lot more than that. Just make sure that they're using them, not just take it home.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's a really wise decision too, because you get the commitment from the driver as well. And so I think that's really, really good. Now talk a little bit about safety before COVID, because COVID obviously that adds a whole different level. But you guys were there before and were working on the platform before COVID. And so when you say safety and you saw additional options for safety, what were you talking about? What were you meaning?
For example, if the driver feels he's in danger,
okay,
and we've seen it sometimes drivers or riders, both sometimes they were in danger situations. We have a panic button in the app. If you press on it for 2 seconds, we will see live in the office on our screen what's going on in the vehicle. The video in the camera that the driver has or the passenger has will turn on, and we will see live video and audio streaming what's going on in the car. We can contact the driver or the passenger and ask them what's going on. If it's something major, we can contact the authorities to protect both of them.
So
you can know exactly where the car is.
So your app actually have the permission to turn on the camera?
Yes, we ask in the terms and condition. It says we have permission to turn on the camera. Yes,
that's
when they
cool.
press the panic button the first time, it asks that also turn it on.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So the driver has to give permission to that during a SOS issue?
They both, in the terms and condition, they both, have to get permissions that if you drive for us, that could be the scenario that the camera could be turned on in emergency. Right. If the driver or the passenger press on it.
But they approve that before they even get in the car, right? That's like part of the terms and conditions of using the app. Yeah, it doesn't happen in the moment.
No.
Okay, good. That's all. Now, I also saw a little bit about there's another thing that sets you guys apart when it comes to female drivers. So I talk a little bit about that, because that has to do with safety too, right?
Absolutely. Well, as Carol's female, I let her take care of it.
Okay.
I'm actually a driver as well.
Okay.
So I got recruited by Bilal and Basil as a driver. So we allow for female passengers to request female drivers, whether it be for their own comfort, safety reasons, or even like religious purposes. Because in many cultures, a female cannot be alone with a strange man, or she wouldn't even necessarily feel comfortable doing so. So yeah, females can request female driver with us, most definitely.
Okay. Now I read.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bilal. Sorry.
And the rider, the female, she can turn on and off that feature every ride.
Okay.
So if she does not put it on, any driver will come over.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's optional.
Now I did read in one of the articles out there about it that was a feature only for female, not for male. Do you guys see any kind of backlash on that? Not allowing it for both parties?
There is about 6,000 cases of sexual harassment, unfortunately. So we're trying to protect both parties, drivers and passengers. And usually if we're talking about safety, usually most of those cases, almost all of them were female.
Sure.
Unfortunately. So we're trying to fill the gap. And if we see in the future there's a need for male features like that, we'll look into it. But at this time, we don't see it as safety measure.
I think that makes perfect sense. It was a thing that entered my mind as I read the article. So that's all.
Yeah. Myself as a female driver, it's completely different for a female being a driver than it is for a male. I feel personally, and the way that we're treated by people. So, and it's a safety issue. I work in Detroit. I work in the middle of the night, and so for the passenger, they have those same concerns. I cannot count how many times I've had a rider get in my car and say, "I'm so glad you're a woman," because she doesn't want to get in the car with a weird guy at 3 a.m. So it's going to make a difference for a lot of people, I feel.
Oh, I agree. I mean, as Jason also said, we've been driving for a long time and we've been in some weird situations. And we get a lot of those riders who, you constantly have that talk. And I've had many women in my car who wanted to become an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, but they didn't have the guts, if you will, because they didn't know what was going to happen. And it's just one of those things. So I think it makes perfect sense. And I think it's a great thing. Now,
let me ask you a question. I'm going to interview now yourself.
Sure, absolutely.
As you're a driver, how many times you've had a female rider that she requested the ride and she saw you as a man and she canceled that ride?
That's actually never happened to me, but I'm not that scary looking. But I can certainly understand it.
Times it happens, know. So
if you've had a ride request and the same person keeps canceling on you, odds are they're either A, trying to get somebody they know, maybe they're already in the car with that person or something, or B, it's a woman trying to get a female.
Yeah.
Because I've had countless drivers tell me that that's happened to them.
So let's go back to the female thing. So the driver can't just pick up female riders, though, right? This is only on the rider end, just to clarify. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about favorite driver. Like that's a feature that everybody
wants it.
All the new apps, like even if it's not rideshare related, I feel like the favorite thing is like huge. So talk a little bit about that.
If someone likes your service and the driver service, and instead of try to ask him, as they call it, under the table, are you available tomorrow at 8 o'clock and pick me up? And maybe that driver is not available because he's driving with another customer and he's too far away from him. This will make everything in the app covered, insured, and the driver, because he's good with the customer can choose up to 10 drivers to add them to their favorite list.
Okay.
And when they choose it, when they want a ride next time, one of those 10 favorite drivers, whoever is closest to him, will be dispatched first.
Nice.
If none of them is available, then anybody else will be dispatched. So rating system is not just we make use of that rating system. Someone has like 4-star, 5 stars, it does help, but this is even better because he's choosing make it personal.
But it's based on distance, right? It's not like the top 10 drivers isn't ranked 1 to 10. It's just a random 10. Let's just say.
Yeah.
And then if that 10 or if one of them, it's just whoever's closest, even though they can't, like if they want to say, I want Jason, no matter what, out of any of, there's no option for that. Just who's ever the closest out of the 10 gets that ride, and online, of course.
Then he will only put Jason on his list.
I was just going to say that. If Jason's his only favorite driver, then he'll get Jason. Because it goes to the favorite drivers first before it goes to everybody else.
Is there a limit to that, though? What happens if Jason is 50 minutes away and there's somebody else? I mean, is he then still considered the first in line, and you can then say, no, I don't want Jason, I want now somebody else? Or
if I'm the only one on the list.
Right.
Right now, it does only give to people that are within close proximity. Depends how we have it. In every city is different. How many miles?
Yep.
We're looking into this in the future to inform the rider, this driver is not close by. There might be a wait, and he can choose.
It's definitely a feature that I have been asked often from me. So I think it'll be a feature that's interesting to see how that grows. So now
when Jason gets the request too, as the driver, it also tells you this is someone who has you as a favorite. So know that it's somebody that, one of your favorites, or, somebody who favorited you as well before you even accept the ride.
That's huge.
We know it's not going to happen with Jason because he's scary looking. But
hey, everyone wants to do all this crap in my car. I'm like, hey, I'm getting you from A to B. Don't touch my radio. No, I don't have an aux cord. Like, let's just all be adults here. And
these are my chargers.
Right.
No, you can't eat your Taco Bell.
Yes.
So, Bill,
you have to take Yellow's car. How shiny and beautiful it is.
Bill, you brought up insurance. So let's tie a little bit about that. Of course, that's something you can't talk about rideshare and not talk about insurance. So what do you guys do to protect your drivers?
What do we do to protect our drivers? Well,
insurance-wise, we already talked about safety. So is there any insurance available when you have riders in the car? What do you guys offer for that? That kind of, or do you?
It's the same thing as what you currently have on other companies.
Okay.
So $1 million, same features.
So it's the same three things. You have the three states. You have online.
Three, yes.
Okay, so same thing. What is your guys's? Now Lyft have a $2,500 deductible. What is your deductible? Uber has $1,000 deductible. That kind of stuff. Is it comparable to those things?
It is comparable, yes. And our it's up to $1 million. That's the coverage.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I think the insurance is a really hot topic for a lot of veteran drivers because we've had Pete that's on the show. Lyft is $2,500, and if you're a rideshare driver, like, that's a lot of cheddar. I mean, I only have 1,000 on my personal policy. You know what I mean? I don't know if I could swing 2,500 cash out of my pocket.
And a lot of us were drivers before the rider was a thing, right? I mean, we were out driving, even though we kind of knew that we were still doing it on our personal insurance. We shouldn't really do that. So that was all that, and obviously that's all been protected, since then.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a very good question. I forgot the details of how much the deductible is. I've seen it like about a year ago. Right. So I haven't looked at that file lately. But I think maybe it was 1,000. And if not, we'll look at it and we'll revisit it and we'll make sure we'll try to reduce it to be very competitive.
Okay.
But I don't think it's... I'm sure it's not higher than the other companies.
I don't think it's higher either.
No.
I mean, you guys are you're the first of the new rideshare company, not Uber and Lyft, that I have heard of that actually even offer insurance. All the other ones require people to have their own commercial. So, an actual commercial insurance because they just don't cover it, not just a rider. So I think that's great. You guys, I think that speaks to your sense of willingness to be in the scene. Absolutely.
And a ton of skin in the game because insurance is really expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about the car seats.
I was just going to say that.
Well, give me a second to breathe over here, man. You jump. Usually he's quiet, but car seats are a huge issue around here. Again, Pete, I swear he has the worst luck. He gets all the people with no car seats. And so tell me a little bit about that feature. I think it's great.
I'll leave that to Carol to answer, but the one thing that I know about car seat, now we just did the soft launch. So we still haven't seen the feedback about it from the customers. But Kira will explain how it works in more details.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we're going to, the driver can buy it themselves, if they have their own or whatever. But we are going to make sure, that they're safe. They're not, they haven't been in accidents. They're not used,
Okay.
and they're going to be required to use not like a booster seat or not like an infant carrier, but a seat that'll carry, toddler up to 8, to the, to follow the state laws.
Yep.
So that if they get a passenger who has a 5-year-old, if they get a passenger who has a 7-year-old, that they can accommodate, all the above. So, and then the rider will actually also be compensated for that too on every trip. There's an extra fee that the rider gets on every trip for having that car seat.
Oh, so you will, that's great. You guys will bring, what's it called? You'll take some extra money for the car seat for it.
Yep. And the rider gets, so if the driver buys the car seat so that they can accept, because you have the option to toggle it on and off, whether or not you'll accept car seat rides.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, if you switch it on and you start getting car seat request rides, every one of those rides, you're going to get that extra fee, and that'll compensate you for having bought, having purchased that car seat.
So does the rider have to choose a car seat option, or what happens if someone rolls up and they didn't choose that? Because I know, everyone's trying to save a buck. So they're going to be like, we'll just choose the regular one, and the driver will just let us do it.
I mean, that's kind of up to the driver if they're going to let them do that or not. And when they order with the car seat, they're charged a little bit extra for the driver having that car seat.
Okay.
If they don't order with the car seat and the driver pulls up and the driver has one, if the driver opts to let them use it, I mean, that's kind of, their choice.
What would you recommend a driver do in that position? Cancel the ride, or is there a way to email support and upgrade to a car seat?
I mean, I'm sure that if they contacted us and told us the situation, we would add that on for them. That wouldn't be a problem. Just like if, I think with Uber, if, they pack too many people and you're like, if you're X and XL, but they order X just to get XL, because I'm both. So I know I've called Uber before and said, hey, there was actually more people than this, and they've upped the fare for me. We would do the same thing.
Lyft won't do that.
Yeah, Lyft won't do that.
Oh, I know.
Lyft will make you cancel it and upgrade it, which is so dumb. It's like,
yeah, no, we're all about being personal and all about being accommodating for the driver, for the rider, making sure that everybody's satisfied. That's how we want to be different. Beyond the safety, we want happiness. We want customers to be happy and drivers to be happy.
That makes sense. So you brought up X and XL. What are the types called in Zoom rides?
Hello?
Echo, Plus, Premium, Black, Zoom Black, and Zoom Black SUV.
And so Echo, that's just a standard X.
Mm-hmm.
And Plus SUXL, six seats. Talk about the other ones. Premium, what sets that apart? Is that a type of vehicle?
Premium is like Select or Lux.
Okay. Yep.
Let's talk about money. I mean, we're all doing this for money, right? I mean, I'm curious what the driver makes. I saw that there was 2 options, which was really cool, that every day, every 24 hours, you can decide to have you guys take the percentage out or pay. Is it a daily fee and you keep all of it minus the insurance, or how does that work?
Okay. So there's the fixed daily rate. Fixed daily rate, when you log in every day at 4 a.m., that's when it resets. So every day when you log in at 4 a.m., it tells you either fixed daily rate or commission mode. Fixed daily rate is, based on, what we guess the business will be for that day. It's a set amount. Say it says $75. You do all your driving for that day. You take all your trips. At the end of the day, we take $75 from your earnings. So, that $75, that's our commission. That's what we take for our commission. Commission-based is just like, other companies. Commission-based is we take our 20% from each fare.
Okay.
Now, we do recommend everybody in the beginning just to use the commission-based, and that's why they cannot press now on the flat fare now.
Great. Yeah, it's not turned on.
Yes, turn off, not until we have enough riders to make it fruitful to them, so they can make enough money on it.
Right. We like it because we feel like if you're only, every day is different for some people. Maybe a mom during the week, she only drives a couple hours while her kids are in school, but on the weekend, she drives all weekend long. So maybe on the day she's only going to take a few trips, she'd want to do commission-based. But if she's going to drive all weekend long for the bar rushes and all day and whatever for events, then she'd want to do the fixed daily rate. Fixed daily rate's good for full time. commission's good for, just part-time here and there. So you can kind of tailor it to what works best for you.
So that's actually a really good point. So what are you going to do with the fixed daily rates on days where that has huge events? So like
it's going to be more.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, over here it's Beer Fest, right? I know in by you guys it's the Big House, right? So wherever there's a game at the Big House, those are big events. What are you going to do there?
Well, that's where surge comes in and peak time and things like that. So
but for the daily rate, it's going to be different based on the day and if there's functions or not, and based on the car type and based on the city.
Right. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It's almost kind of like the night before you predict. It's kind of a gamble for you all too, right? Like, I mean, you want to be fair, but you also you never know what the rider's gonna or the driver's gonna make. So I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. The jury's still out for me on that. I don't know. I might just want to do the commission.
The way I came up with this situation, for example, one time I was in Chicago. I asked the driver, how much do you make? And he said, from all rides, for example, approximately $500. Well, and the company I used to work for, they take approximately half. So he keeps about $250. So I say if I give him 100, if he gives me 100 only, that means he'll keep 400. That means he's keeping $150 extra per day. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. One of the other questions I had is expansion too. I mean, you guys are in Detroit. We're in Grand Rapids, 2.5 hours away. What is the likelihood of coming to this side of the state?
As soon as we can, we'll be there.
What a political answer.
Well,
tomorrow if we can. Yeah.
I was going to say
we're trying to finalize our soft launch within 2 weeks.
In GR?
No, here.
Oh, here. I was like, damn.
We're finished in 2 weeks. That means we can start going other places.
Okay. Yeah.
We're just trying to make sure everything's okay. We hear the voices of drivers and riders. If there's any improvement that we can do for them, we'll do it. Then we can go to larger cities, larger areas. Right. I know, for example, we applied to, and we got the license for Florida. So, but that doesn't mean we're going there tomorrow.
Right.
Maybe 2 months. But we already are in the process of doing it. In Michigan, Grand Rapids, it's so easy. I need to go and advertise over there, and we can flip the switch. So
I was going to say, I already applied, so I haven't been approved yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, he told me. I was like, how did they even let you go through if you're not?
You did my background check, so.
There you go.
What are you missing?
Well, I was kicked off the Lyft platform 3 years ago. So.
Oh.
So how price comparison? So right, like Lyft and Uber, it's like the race to the bottom, it seems like. And it's so frustrating for drivers because, I mean, we've been around where the money was like, I worked on a weekend and it was dope. I mean, I was making $1,000 on a weekend. Now, I'm not expecting a new company to do that, but I'm just saying how do you told me all these features, which is really nice for the driver, but the bottom line is the money. And so how are you going to get those drivers to come drive for you? Is it, how much more is a Zoom driver making than a regular rideshare driver making?
Eventually, they should be making at least 50% more.
Okay.
With us. And of course, that will be during normal season, I guess. Not taking care of, not looking into this situation now with COVID and of what's going on.
I'm basically looking apples to apples. If everything's the same, you guys have the demand, the other companies have the demand, and COVID's not going on. I'm just curious how much a driver's going to make, and is the passenger going to, are they going to be paying a lot more? Which I know a lot of them would. I've talked to them. They'd be like, yeah, we would pay more for this, but they're not charging it, so we're not going to pay it, obviously. And then, of course, they don't tip, but, that's a different story.
Let's not talk about tipping.
I'll get you on the app.
Yeah, right.
And anyways, yeah. So exactly. And then let me follow that up real quick as well. How quickly are you expecting to have the riders, to have the passengers to be able to cover a bunch of full-time drivers?
We're working hard on it. We try to advertise in many avenues, and we've been on different news channels lately. And hopefully with your help also now, we can get more riders hopping on. And we're just trying now to approve more drivers. We've been getting a lot of rides but we're still trying to approve a lot of drivers, as you said, as you mentioned yourself, for example, we did not approve you yet. So we can.
Well, mostly I think it's because I haven't uploaded my my what's it called?
Documents.
Yeah.
Here you go, and that's what we've been having problems.
I wasn't blaming you.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough. I honestly, if I had some downside, I would tell you, because we're just kind of bluntly honest, and I don't see a lot of downside, and I'm hoping it works. I mean, there's been a few that have come out and haven't worked, and I'm really just hoping that things work out for you. So
thank you.
We definitely we'll get the word out and get this interview out, and we actually I looked back in our titles, and I don't know, back before COVID, we did talk about you guys in February.
Yep, we had
so it's been on our radar, but then COVID happened and everyone just went bye, like can't do anything.
If we could have launched like a year ago,
right?
But we need to make sure that we have the best possible app with features and safety and customer service that we can have. Right. That's why we're not trying to go to launch for failure. And we know we're trying to compete with two giant companies that have been there for a long time. So that's not easy, but we have the right team. We have the good technology. We've been working on this for 3 years now. And hopefully everyone will be happy and safe and satisfied.
Awesome.
So you had asked about ways, like how we're going to pay, ways that we're going to pay the drivers more. And some features that actually weren't mentioned really quick. A big one that drivers really like is the guaranteed long pickup fee. So if you drive 10 miles to pick somebody up and they only go 2 miles, we pay you full mileage for that difference.
Nice.
Long
started
trip
with that.
premium,
I know.
if the trips are longer. If you take a ride from the airport to Ohio, and you're not going to be able to get rides back, so you're losing money on the way back, we pay premium for that. So we do hourly rides. So if you take somebody, they go to the grocery store and they want to shop for an hour, instead of sitting there in the parking lot making, 11 cents a minute, you're getting paid a flat fee for the hour. And if they want to go over, you get paid for another hour. So these are some of the different ways that, drivers are going to make more, through working with us.
That's why we only allow one stop in the regular rides. If you want one stop, take
hourly ride.
Okay.
Wow.
That's great. Actually, the one thing we forgot to talk about, and real quick, you mentioned the whole thing about being able to favor your driver, right? So that when you bring that up, I almost can't help but thinking about what happens to queues on the driver side. Can you queue up rides? How does that work?
So queuing up rides, meaning, you get a ride in trip. So you're on a trip and you get one waiting for you. Do you have that feature?
Not at the moment, but it's in the works.
Well, you're still a startup. Yeah, if you're getting queued up rides, you're like, okay, like we're killing it now.
Let's go.
We'll be happy.
Let's go.
It's almost there. Yep.
Okay,
that's very, very exciting. This has been great, guys. And as I said, we just very, very excited to be able to talk to you about that. And again, awesome. You guys are right here in Michigan with where we are. So that's cool.
Huge.
Yeah.
Jason, you're in my group. I'm a moderator for the Detroit Uber Lyft group, and you're in my group. I see your posts all the time.
I know. Yeah. I thank you for not banning me. I try to get away with posts. Now I don't twice, a couple times a month I post, basically. That's it. Nothing to be too spammy, but I didn't know that you were a moderator. Well, thank you for not blocking me.
Actually, we have one of our regulars in our group is from Detroit, and he comes over here once in a while, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna be signing up for Zoom rides. I would think that he would.
Yeah, I went to text him before the interview.
Come on.
Yeah, his name is Leo. He's probably in that Detroit group too. So.
Yeah,
Leo Titus. I know.
No. He may go by a different Facebook name.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
I
No, I know. I know all the drivers. I know all of our drivers.
So.
Okay. Well,
personal touch.
Yeah. Well, thanks again.
Friends with them on Facebook, so yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, I am. Okay, so that is Leo. Yeah, he came to we had a rideshare picnic. Wasn't as successful this year as it was last year, but COVID and all that fun stuff. So,
yep.
But he came out from Detroit and hung out with us. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for your time. I know it's 7:30 on a Wednesday and you're still at work, so
Thank you.
We appreciate that and look forward to talking to you in the future.
Thank you so much, guys.